He quickly inhaled his meal, trying desperately to enjoy each bite but finding it difficult, as his family was pestering him to be as quick as possible. After hastily eating and showering, Robert was finally ready to leave the castle and head towards the Hoba site. "Ready, honey?" Lagertha asked. "Yes, dear," he replied. "Do we have everybody?" "The boys are tucked in their seats. You can obviously hear our daughter, and your father is right behind you," she said as she took his hand and guided him inside the vehicle. "Finally, Dad! You were like a bearfin this morning. Roar!" Lorena imitated the animal. "And you were like a little Trumani, dashing everywhere faster than the speed of light. But now we need to settle down. Today could be a long day," he said to his daughter. The chariot took them out of the castle grounds, through the boroughs of churches and universities, and into the very centre of the city. The site was congested with people. Scores of folks came to bear witness of the next king or queen of Saoirse. Some had travelled from other states around the country, while others had travelled from faraway lands, leagues across the sea. The excitement of the people was palpable. The smiling faces and giddy laughter filled the streets of Bounaïthoir, as children launched fireworks high into the air, and men played and chanted to the song of Di Azri. The leather drums percussed through the city avenues, and the chants boomed into the heavens. The clouds above were grey and cold, the breeze soft but bold as it hit the skin with teeth like splinters in the short and dreaded days of winter. The snow sprinkled on the city roads, blotting out the soft white lights that lined them. Robert and Lagertha made sure their children were bundled tightly from the harshness of winter's menacing air. Lagertha helped Robert put on a harness to hold the two boys and place them inside it. They sat in soft marten fur, which kept them warm and comfortable, and had an outer layer made of nylon to keep the bitterness of the wind away from them. Neither of the two boys fussed. They both just stared out into the world, taking in all the new sounds and smells that came with it. Robert finally stepped out of the hovering carriage and put his hand out to help his beautiful daughter and wife as well as his father, leaving the wagon and entering the hustle and bustle of the magic of the city centre. As they walked through the crowds, the citizens stepped out of their way, giving them a passage to walk towards the Hoba meteorite. They did not move for Robert nor for Lagertha, but out of honour for the king, Abraham. As every person stepped aside, Robert thanked and nodded graciously to them as they got nearer to the stone. The beat of the drums got louder, the whistle of the fireworks more piercing, the chants more robust. Robert's eyes then became focused on the rock. He could see a man struggling mightily, trying to pull an enormous warhammer from the boulder. Standing in front of Robert was a boy no older than 10. The child, with sandy blonde hair and brown eyes, looked back at him and offered Abraham his spot to pull the weapon from the stone. "Oh, thank you, lad. You're very kind to let me take your place," said Abraham. Robert's father knelt down to the child and handed him a pocket watch made of gold. The boy beamed at him as Abraham walked towards the meteor. The crowd fell silent, the fireworks too, and the sound of the silence was deafening as Abraham was now face to face with God's decision. Abraham put his hand upon the warhammer. He tightened his grip and gave a wicked pull. Not a creak, nor a crack. The warhammer remained, and a new king was certain to be named. The crowd applauded with respect for the effort their king gave. Abraham put his hands high into the air and then bowed to them all. The ambiance was that of a beloved athlete playing his last game as Robert's father left the stage of the stone. The blond boy looked back at Robert. "Would you like to go, sir?" the boy asked. "Don't be silly. I think you've waited long enough. Give it a go and good luck," he said. The boy was scrawny but handsome and wore a green cape over his formal wear. Robert watched as he approached the rock. He could tell the boy had confidence, but was slightly unsure if he would be the next king. The child bent down towards the neck of the hammer and put both hands tightly on it. He took a deep breath and pulled with all his might. He let out a loud scream, using every muscle in his body. But it was not meant to be. The child bowed his head in shame and walked away. As he got closer, Robert stopped him as he was about to pass, and said to him, "Do not fear failure, lad, for in great attempts it is glorious even to fail." The boy grinned at him as Robert tousled his hair. Robert strode forward with his 2 children attached to his chest. His buffalo coat twirled in the frosted air as his boots guided him towards the hammer. The drums started beating softly, and a chant picked up in the background. He wrapped his hands over the staff of the hammer. He saw the swirling of the liquid metal as it held the hammer in its place. He closed his eyes and breathed. He heard no one. He saw no one. He only felt the grip of the hammer in his hands. He roared and hauled, and like a knife through butter, the hammer was free from the stone. The people boomed in applause and joy. The fireworks resumed and took the shape of golden crowns, red dragons, and green shamrocks. Lagertha stepped forward in front of the crowd. "All hail the king that shall be!" she yelled. A chant echoed through the amphitheatre. "Hail Robert! Hail Robert! Hail Robert!" The resonance of it was great, and in the clamour Abraham, Robert's father, was the first to kneel, followed by Lagertha and her daughter. The people took note and did the same, and once again the theatre was quiet. Robert spoke as the crowd was silent. "There is no need to bow to me. I am only the king of this great country. I am not the king of your soul. Rise with me upon this new day, a time of peace, a time of prosperity. Rejoice in it, for the Lord has given me an object of war. Ready your hearts and ready your minds, for our Maker has given us a warning of what is to come. Prepare now, for when the storm hits, you will know, body and soul, you are meant to live another day. God bless all of you on this good, good earth." The people erupted with thunderous applause as Robert and his 2 boys walked towards his family with his warhammer in hand. As he walked back to them, he glanced right and saw Iscariot and his little boys smiling and applauding. "All hail the king that shall be," Lagertha said gleefully as she greeted her husband back with a kiss. "All hail the great King Robert," said Iscariot as he joined his brother in celebration. Robert shook his hand and thanked him. "I would hug you, but we both seem to have weird creatures attached to our chests," Robert said as he and Iscariot laughed. "Today is the day of your ceremony." "Do you want to ride together?" Robert asked. "No, I'm fine, thanks. I have a couple of things left to do before I get ready and go," Iscariot explained. "We can take baby Hans if you want," Lagertha offered. "Thanks, Lagertha. But he's good company, even though he's either sleeping, crying, or pooping," Iscariot said with a smile. "We shall see you at 7 then?" Robert asked, though he wasn't really questioning the time. "I'll see you all then," Iscariot replied, struggling to get through the crowd of people. Robert and his family waved goodbye, and they too headed for the carriage. As Robert walked towards the vehicle, every citizen parted before him, and looked upon him not to say hello or words of congratulations, but to say a silent prayer. And every citizen ended their prayers by placing their fingers to their heads, then diagonal to their left breast, across to their right breast, and then back to their forehead. And as they did so, Robert would look them in the eye and thank them, and reply with Germa as they finished the Trinity. When they made it to their vehicle, the wagon was warm and thawed their frigid skin. The snow did not fall from the sky, but what laid on the ground spun in the wind and gently landed back down to earth. Robert examined the warhammer the Lord had given him. It was long, nearly as tall as he. Its shaft was a black alien alloy with grooves that seemed moulded for Robert's fingers, and resting at the end of it was a thick metallic skewer. Dressed along the shaft were 4 emerald clasps that gave the hammer a look of beauty rather than of fear. The hammer itself was the matte black of an alien stone. Its face was blunt and brutal, and atop it was a piercing metal spike that matched the one opposite the face. Robert placed his hands within its grooves, and as he did so, engraved and glowing were words that read, Be thou an example of the believers, in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given to thee by prophecy. For in doing this thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee.